Hello MPPNs, how are you? Hope you are fine. This is our second class, right? We were dealing with chapter number 3 and what was it? It is separation of substances. And we have covered 3 topics. First one, pure substances and mixtures. Then types of mixtures. Then need for separating components of a mixture. See, we have covered 3 main topics of this chapter. Now let us move on to the 4th topic. What is that? Physical methods of separation. How we will separate these mixtures physically, physical methods. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, let's move on to the 5th main topic of this chapter. Physical methods of separation. The principle of separation is that the different components have different properties. The principle of separation states that different components have their own properties. As such, the method you choose will depend on the type of mixture and its components. The mixture that we take for separation, okay, the method to separate the mixture is completely depend on the type of mixture that have to be separated. All right, in a mixture made by combining powdered iron with powdered sugar, the powdered iron can be separated from the powdered sulfur by holding a strong magnet near this mixture. See, we have chosen this method because it is a property of iron that it is attracted by magnet. Just now I told you that the physical method for the separation is completely dependent on the type of mixture used. See, we are taking iron and powdered sulfur. Okay, now we have to separate these both. So we know that iron has an attracting property, hence we used a magnet. So the separating method is completely dependent on the mixture used. All right, you should note that all the methods of separating mixtures are based on physical properties of their components. We don't see chemical properties involved in it during the separation. All right, now the first separation is of separation of solids from solids. A solid mixture is there in which we have to separate solids. The first main process is winnowing. What is winnowing? The process of separating grains from chaff and hay is called winnowing. See, grains and chaff are both solid, right? And we are separating a solid from a solid. Thus, this process comes under this one, the separation of solids from solid. All right. To separate the chaff and grains, the threshed mixture is allowed to fall from a height along a natural breeze. I think you have noticed it is common among village people that they usually separate the chaff from the grain by allowing it to fall from a height. Why do you know? Because the grains being heavier fall straight to the ground while the light chaff is blown by a breeze a little farther away. Thus, the chaff and grains are separated, right? So, winnowing is the most common and easiest method to separate solid from solids. In many areas, the natural breeze is not available at the time of winnowing. In many areas, the natural breeze is not allowed at the time of winnowing. So, winnowing is done with the help of winnowing fans. During the season when the process of winnowing is required, there must not be a natural breeze. So, the farmers use winnowing fans to perform winnowing. See here, a man is performing winnowing. He is standing at a height, falling the mixture down. The heavier wheat, the grains are falling straight to the ground because of gravitational pull, and the chaff is carried away by the wind and separated. The mixture gets separated. Now the next main or the next process to separate solid from solid is hand picking. When the components of a mixture are different in color, size or shape, they are separated by hand picking. When the components of the mixture are different in color or size or shape or anything, then it can be easily picked out by hand, right? That picking with the help of our hand is called hand picking. The particles in the mixture should be big enough to handle. Okay, the particles in the mixture should be big enough to handle. Then only hand picking is possible. Housewives often remove undesirable substances such as pebbles from wheat, rice and pulses by this method. This method is used only when one of the components is present in a small quantity and is large enough to be hand picked. See, when this hand picking becomes successful, it becomes successful only when the components of the mixture are different in color and size, and the next condition is the one of the components of present in that mixture should be in small quantity and large in size. Okay, it is mostly done by housewives to remove undesirable substances such as pebbles from wheat, rice and pulses. See here, a woman is performing hand picking. She is removing pebbles from wheat. All right. The next process which helps in the separation of solids from solids is sieving. I think it's a new term for you, right? I will explain what is this. This method is used to separate the components of a mixture which are of different sizes. Okay, this is only performed on that mixture in which the components of the mixture are of different sizes. Undesirable materials are separated from the grains by using a sieve. See, this is a sieve. Okay, in Hindi we call it chalni. Now I think you have understood what is sieving, right? Undesirable substances or materials are separated from the grains by using a sieve. While sieving wheat flour, the smaller particles pass through the sieve while the bigger particles remain on the sieve. See, it is the sieving of flour. This is a sieve and we drop wheat flour on it. Then during sieving, the small particles pass through the sieve and the large particles just stay on the sieve. Thus, it is separated. Alright. Flour is sieved for different purposes, that is for mash, for flour and for fine flour. Hence, sieves of different sizes of holes are used. The size of the holes of the sieves depends upon the size of the particles of the materials to be separated. Okay. See here, the sieving of sand. In the sand, large particles are there, right? So, according to means to hold that marble particles or to sieve that marble particles, the sieve should be modified. Okay, when we just pour down the sand on this sieve, marbles are left on the sieve and the sand falls down, right? Next one is magnetic separation. We are separating a solid from solid using magnet. Iron, nickel and cobalt are magnetic substances. Magnetic substances are separated from the non-magnetic substances by using a magnet. Alright. Thus, iron fillings can be separated from sand by using a magnet. The iron fillings stick to the magnet while sand does not. In the starting only I explained you with the example of powdered sulfur and iron, right? We attracted the iron from the powdered sulfur using a magnet. Just like from sand and from the mixture of sand, we can separate iron fillings using a magnet. Okay. In factories, scrap iron is separated from the heap of waste materials by using magnets. See here. This is electromagnet. Okay. And scrap iron is separated from heap of waste materials. When we dump waste materials, in between the waste materials there are some scrap iron, right? And to separate the scrap iron from that mixture, electromagnet is used with the help of a crane. Thus we can separate scrap iron from the waste materials. Alright. At some places a magnetic roller is used. The mixture is put on a belt moving over a magnetic roller. The magnetic particles are attracted by the roller and they fall on a separate heap, separating the non-magnetic particles. See here, it is a magnetic roller. We are pouring the mixture of iron and sand from this pipe. This is a magnetic roller, no? So it works on the electricity. This mixture moves here. Okay, these are two magnets. This mixture moves on here, and the sand is not attracted to magnets, so it moves just straight downwards. But the iron fillings get attracted to the magnets, so iron fillings are gathered or collected at another side. So we can separate sand and iron fillings from the iron and sand mixture. Alright. Now next one is washing. Impurities lighter than water are removed by this method. For example, pulses are put into water. Impurities lighter than water are removed by this method. Like if we put pulses in a vessel and pour some water on it, the large particles or the unwanted particles come upwards, no? So hence we can separate the pulses from that impurities, right? Husks, shells or infested grains etc. start floating on water while pulses settle down. The layer of water with impurities is removed. Hence we can separate impurities from pulses using washing. Okay. Next one is sublimation. What do you mean by sublimation? Sublimation is a process in which a solid on heating changes directly into gaseous form without melting. It is a process in which a solid on heating changes directly into gaseous form. Without moving to the liquid state, the solid directly moves to the gaseous form. Sublimation is used for separating of solid compounds which sublime on heating from a non-volatile solid. The gaseous form of the substance is cooled to get the pure solid. Okay. What do you mean by sublimation? It is a process in which a solid on heating changes directly into gaseous form, and it is used to separate solid compounds which sublime on heating from a non-volatile solid. Okay. Common examples of the solids which sublime on heating are ammonium chloride, camphor, naphthalene and iodine. To separate common salt and ammonium chloride from a mixture, we use method of sublimation. I think you have got what is sublimation, right? Okay. See here an activity is given which shows sublimation. Okay, we can separate two solids using sublimation. Just go through this activity so that you can clear the topic of sublimation. Now moving on to the next one. What is that? Separation of insoluble solids from liquids. Now we studied separation of solids from solids, in which we studied winnowing, then magnetic separation, hand pricking, sieving, then sublimation and many more. No, now we are going to study separation of insoluble solids from liquids. First one is sedimentation and decantation. I think you are familiar with these two terms, right? The process of settling of the heavy solids at the bottom is called sedimentation. Settling of impurities in a beaker is known as sedimentation, and the removal of the clear layer of the liquid without disturbing the settled solids is called decantation. First of all, just take a beaker, pour some water, then put some sand in the water. Okay, then just leave it for some time. After some time, you will see that the sand particles settles down. What it is known as sedimentation. Then when it settles down, just pour the water into the next container. This is known as decantation. All right. Now, insoluble solids in liquids can be separated by sedimentation and decantation. For example, sand or mud can be separated from water by this method. I told you just now about the separation of sand from the water, right? The muddy water is allowed to stand for some time. The sand and mud settle at the bottom of the container. The sediment should not be disturbed. Pouring of top layer of clear water gently into another container is called decantation. Decantation can also be used for separation of two immiscible liquids. Okay, immiscible means that cannot be dissolved in water or any liquids. Okay, immiscible liquids. What are the examples? Water and oil. Oil is an immiscible liquid. Though oil is a form of liquid, but it cannot be dissolved in water, right? Okay, one heavier than the other. Decantation can also be used for separation of two immiscible liquids such as water and oil. One heavier than the other. In this case, oil is heavier than water, right? Okay, for better results, we use a separating funnel or a burette. Okay, if we want to separate sand and water, then we can use another method of separating the mixture using a funnel. If we pour the impure water through the funnel, then the water we get in the beaker after separating it from using a funnel will be pure, and the impurities will be stored in the funnel or burette. Okay, the mixture is poured in the separating funnel. It is allowed to stand for some time. Immiscible liquids form two clear distinct layers. The liquid forming the lower layer is drained off by opening the stopcock of the funnel. See, I am showing you a picture. First one is sedimentation. This is muddy water. After some time, the mud settles down. Then we will pour the clear water with the help of a glass rod in another beaker so that we can get clean water. Okay. Now see here the separation of immiscible liquids using a separating funnel. Okay, this is kerosene oil. As I told you, kerosene oil or any type of oil is an immiscible liquid, right? See, the mixture of kerosene oil and water can be separated using a funnel. It is a stopcock, and using the stopcock we can we can get pure water from the mixture of kerosene and water. All right, immiscible liquids form two clear distinct layers. See here, two layers are there. The liquid forming the lower layer is drained off by opening the stopcock. See, this is the stopcock. They form two layers, right? When we open the stopcock, the one of these layers move down, then we can separate kerosene from water. Next one is loading and coagulation. Sometimes the dirt particles in the river or canal water are not heavy enough to settle easily. In such cases, some chemical such as alum is added to the water. The dissolved particles of alum load the fine clay particles. Thus, the clay particles become heavier and settle down. Then the clear water is separated by decantation. See, it's the muddy water. Here we dropped a piece of alum. then we can see that clear water is on the top and sediment just settles down. Okay, this is the process of loading of suspended clay particles with alum. The process of improving and settling property of solid particles by the addition of special chemicals such as alum is called coagulation or loading. The process of improving the settling property of solid particles. If the solid particles are not heavier to be settled down, then by adding some chemicals we can do so. So this process of adding chemicals to improve the settling property of solid is known as coagulation or loading. Alum is called a coagulating agent. Now let us study filtration. Filtration is used for separating insoluble solids from the liquids by using a filter. It is the process of separating insoluble solids from the liquids using a filter, that is filter paper. A piece of cotton, a layer of sand, a piece of muslin cloth or a piece of filter paper can be used as a filter. During the process of filtration, we can use these following items as a filter. Alright. To filter water on large scale, other porous materials are used. To filter water on large scale, other porous materials. To filter the water on small scale, we are using that this muslin cloth or the filter paper or anything. Okay, but to filter water on large scale, the porous materials are used. Some of them are charcoal, cotton, glass wool and unglazed porcelain. Nowadays, drinking water at home is filtered through a special filter pad which retains suspended impurities and bacteria. I think at your home you may have a water filter, right? That water filter helps to filter the water which you drink. Okay, see here. This is a filter paper. How do we use this filter paper in the process of filtration? See here. Firstly, we will fold it and we will make a semicircle. Then just use this paper and make a cone out of it. Then insert it in the funnel. See here, it is the process of filtration. This is the process of filtration. This diagram shows the process of filtration in which we used filter paper, funnel and the mixture which we have to separate, then a beaker. Alright, firstly we will pour the mixture to the filter paper. The filter paper filters the clean water out of the muddy water, and the mud just stays on the filter paper. Okay, so now it is the time to wind up. We will study the rest of the topics in the next video. Till that, stay home, stay safe and take care of yourself. Bye.